One thing I know I have found really confusing when I started learning Chinese is that there's actually no word for yes or no, strictly speaking. So it's not like English where probably the first word you learn after hello, goodbye, and thank you is yes and no. Now in Chinese, you basically just either confirm something or reject something. You don't actually say yes or no. So let's say I wanted to ask you, are you going to the mall? 你去商场吗? Generally, you just don't say, there's no word for no. What you would say is 不去. So 不 is a negative word meaning no, but you generally don't just say 不 on its own. You would say 不去,不去. If I want to ask you, are you going to eat this? 你要吃吗? Or are you going to eat? 你吃饭吗? And you answer, I don't want to eat. 我不吃,不吃. Now, on its own, this word 不 is fourth tone, but there's sort of a pronunciation rule, which is when you follow this word by another fourth tone word like 去, it changes to a second tone. So even though it's 不吃, fourth tone, first tone, if you want to say 不去, it becomes second tone, fourth tone, 不去,不吃. If I want to say I'm not going to read, so I ask you, 你看书吗? You could respond, 不看, I'm not going to read. Similarly, if you want to say I am going to read or I am going to eat, 你吃饭吗? You would just respond with the verb, 吃. Are you going to the mall? 你去商场吗? 去 or 我去, I'm going. So again, there's no real direct equivalent of the standalone words yes and no in Chinese. If you want to confirm or respond in the affirmative, you just repeat the verb. 去商场吗? 去. 吃饭吗? 吃. 看书吗? 看. If you want to reject or say no, you simply say 不 and then the verb. 你吃饭吗? 不吃. 你看书吗? 不看. 你去商场吗? 不去. This might take a little bit of getting used to. So it's important when you're learning Chinese is don't try and find analogues or equivalents in English and then translate directly. It's really easy to fall into that trap, particularly if you've never studied a foreign language before. Because the problem is that that can kind of work in Romance languages or a lot of European languages that share a common ancestor with English. But Chinese is completely different. If you try and just replace word for word every word in a sentence to form a Chinese sentence, it's just not going to work. So don't think in terms of yes and no. Think in terms of positive or affirmative or negative. So, 你看书吗? 不看 or 我看. Another example, someone asks you, are you Australian? 你是澳大利亚人吗? You can respond 是 or 不是. 你是中国人吗? 不是 or 是. 你是美国人吗? 不是是